Is it on? Is it on?
I don't know.
Is it on? It's Shirley! It's Shirley!
Go!
Right, okay, so everyone, this is Shirley, our amazing trainer here at Evolve, but not just amazing because a beautiful person inside and out. She absolutely lives and practices what she preaches. So I thought it'd be a nice little treat to interview someone that has lived health and fitness. And people look at Shirley and they're like, wow, she's amazing, she's inspirational, but there also the things come up as like, it's easy for Shirley because she's so super fit. And so I want to take someone that's really at that area and that is already living it and sort of show the path to getting there. Because obviously Shirley didn't come out of the womb like this.
No.
You know what I mean? So like, have you always been super fit?
No.
Okay.
No. So before I went off to uni many years ago, I did a bit of gymnastics, but fitness was probably furthest from my mind. I was very unhealthy in terms of my diet, did a lot of drinking. When I went to uni, I drank every weekend, didn't eat very well either, so I would definitely say that fitness I've got into my late 20s. So from my mid-20s, 25, 26, that's where my fitness journey's taken off.
Wow, okay. So like even that I think is beneficial for people because people look at someone such as yourself or someone's fitness industry that's at the other end and just think it's always been like it and they forget there's a journey. So was there ever a struggle through that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I was doing a health and PE degree and teaching and learning all about health and fitness industry, but what I was acting out was completely different to what I was learning. So definitely that was a struggle in terms of what I was trying to teach the students and what I was implying myself. However, now I can definitely say over the last 15, 20 years that has definitely, my two values have married up, and I definitely walk the walk and talk the talk as well.
So what if you, like obviously because you're like myself, you see people all the time at the beginning of the journey, and when people are at the beginning it's very different than when they're sort of in the middle or the end. The beginning is this big struggle, or I find a limiting belief is because they've never been there, it's never going to happen. What would your advice be to someone who's just starting, never been fit, and they might be like even in their 30s and never been fit and they've got in their head that they can never do it? What would your advice be to that person?
My advice would be that anything that you do today is something more than you've done yesterday. So everything that you do, if you are consistent with it, then you're going to achieve results and you're going to feel better about yourself, and you're going to look back, in 6 months' time and think, wow, I never thought I could do a burpee or a sit-up, and now look at me, I'm doing 5 to 10 of each. So I just think just believing in yourself, being kind to yourself, and knowing that if you do something every single day, that you're making progress and that you're working towards future goals. So consistency, but just doing something every single day and believing in yourself and being true to yourself.
Absolutely. That's the big one, consistency, that we kind of throw out in the fitness industry all the time because it's kind of like an eye roll moment. But it really is that if you did the most hardcore workout today, but then train for the next week or 2 weeks, it means nothing. You could train at a lesser intensity consistently to get that result. Because someone may look at Shirley and go, wow, she's a machine, she goes hard out, but she didn't start off doing that. She can go hard out now, that's the level she's at. So it's just that gradually getting better and better and better to eventually become like Shirley.
Definitely, team. So just anything that you do, as Matt said, if you were to do one workout a week, although it's good to do a workout, it's probably not as much, it's not as beneficial to you as if you could do something every single day. And one of those things is like the push-up challenge. I know that's quite hard and a big challenge, but if you could do maybe 4 to 5 push-ups every day, then you're going to make progress and you're going to feel a lot stronger, a lot healthier, and you're going to feel that you can achieve more. So definitely a little bit.
Because there's different ways. You've got intensity, volume, weight. There's always different ways of getting progressive overload to progressively overload training so that your body adapts to what you want it to do. But if you went as hard as you physically can, intense now, your volume's still relatively small. But if you then took a large amount of volume at a lower intensity over the week, the volume's really the key, isn't it, to get the adaptation. So,
and I do want to just say, by coming to Evolve, you have an awful lot of support here. There's a lot of people that might be in the same boat as you, and that we're a massive family and that will support you all on your journey. And it doesn't matter if you have just started or whether you're an experienced person who's trained. We're all here to help and support and help you guys to achieve whatever it is you want to achieve.
Mic drop. Thanks, Cheryl.
You're welcome.
Love you.
Love you too.
So what Shirley means by the push-up challenge is we're actually doing a push-up for charities, for awareness of mental health, and it's around 200 push-ups a day that vary. This is not part of the 6-week challenge. We actually just brought this up just to raise awareness of mental health because it's super important, especially up here in Darwin, and also just to do something for a good cause, plus it's some extra volume.
I love peanut butter.
Okay, so I'm not gonna lie, this last few weeks has been crazy with everything. I'm getting married very soon, my wifey for lifey, and mother dearest is here. My mum has come up from the UK to Darwin to help out here with the kids and what have you. So, not gonna lie, the last few weeks have been pretty tough to try and do the vlog at the same time. So I'm gonna chuck a few things in that maybe gives value to people in our group, because we have a closed group called the Evolve Movement that members of Evolve are in, that we put stuff permanently educating, giving value, but with the push-up challenge bringing mental awareness awareness to mental health, I dropped a few things because it's one of the things I'm very passionate about. So I'm just going to put this in here because I haven't got a lot of footage that I'm going to put to show what the challenge have been into, but what they have basically been doing in a nutshell is we've taken them off the nutrition plan and given them the knowledge of macros and calories. So now they're actually creating their own plans in a way and following their own diets to what they like, but still hitting those goals. So it's a whole lot of working with people and making sure the knowledge base is there so they can carry on after the challenge, hitting those goals indefinitely. So here's something from the Evolve Movement about mental health. Right, okay guys, this is kind of the last element, if you will, into the course. So we've learned how to do our macros, do our calories, do our physical body, and how to actually biologically move lipolysis to lose weight, to build muscle, whatever you want to do. Now I really want to touch into something that everyone knows they should work on, but it's kind of eye-rolled and pushed off until something serious happens and then suddenly everyone's on board. And that is the mental health, the mental side of things. It kind of goes perfect with our push-up thing that we're doing right now. I'm going to put in some information here that absolutely changed the game for me. We all know that if we run a certain pattern, you get your result. We all know that. But why is it that one person will reach for something they know is detrimental to them? Why is it that one person will keep running a pattern that they hate running, but they just keep doing it? And there's a few elements to come into it, but I want to give you a strategy of understanding what yours is, but also how to break it. We all do things because of basically 6 human needs, 6 basic human needs. But those human needs that we run by is the software that we run. And of the software that we run is the chemical release that we have, and our body gets used to that. So for example, if you drink coffee constantly, you become addicted to coffee because it has a certain hormonal release. If you train all the time, after a while you become addicted to training because it releases dopamine, you have a certain hormonal release. Anyone that does something consistently gets a certain hormonal release, and your body becomes accustomed to that hormone and then becomes addicted to it. Someone that eats sugar all the time is used to that sugar high and is addicted to that sugar high. Is it detrimental to them? Yes. Do they want to be doing it? No, but they can't help it because they're not overriding their subconscious or their body telling them that I want this hormone. It's exactly the same with anything else, because when you put a thought towards something, you have a certain hormonal profile that is a reaction to that thought. So if you get angry and pissed off, you release certain hormones that are in line with that emotion, and if you release that on a consistent basis, your body will get addicted to the hormone that is released. And to release that hormone, you have to become angry and pissed off. And people think, oh, it's just the way they are. But why is it just the way they are? They were a child once, and children aren't born just angry and pissed off. They go through a whole spectrum of emotions. But it's until we own our own emotional fitness, we can't adjust anything. Because ultimately, our brain makes our body move, and our body gives feedback to the brain. So unless this engages and takes control to make this accustomed to our goal, this will determine what's going to happen. Because our body's made for survival, and we've survived this far no matter what we're doing. And even if there's something bad that's addictive, that's detrimental to our future, it's kept us alive, and our body will keep rerunning that program. So that being said, why do we do certain things? Now I'm going to go through these 6 basic human needs because I think everyone should know this, and I also think that it should be taught in schools. So the first 4 have to be met no matter what. And if you meet these on a level of a scale of 1 to 10, 5 or above, 3 or more, you become addicted to that trait. But we'll reverse over that. So first of all, the first basic human need, certainty. Do you know what? I'll write this down and I'll actually put it up on the video. I'll edit this. Certainty or variety. So everyone needs to meet this need. Some people meet it by having a 9-to-5 job because they're certain. Another word for it is comfortable or safe. A 9-to-5 job and they feel certain. Some other people, to meet this need, they have to have $100,000 in the bank, or they can't relax because they have to be certain or safe that they've got that safety net there. Okay, so this has to be met on some level. Okay, has to, because we're survival machines. If you're in an earthquake right now and the ceiling might fall down, you won't be listening to this video. You'll be panicking about that because you're now uncertain. Your certainty is dropping because now the floor's moved. Certainty or variety. The next one is uncertainty or variety. Okay, so this is kind of like the paradox to it, is that if you knew everything that was going to happen every second of every day, what would happen? You become bored, right? And so your body, your nervous system needs variety. If you sit in one place not moving at all for a certain amount of time, it could be relaxed and be cool, but after a while you're like, I've got to move. The body needs movement because we've got lymph in our body as well, and lymph, we have more lymph in our body than we do blood. And then blood has a pump, the heart. So if we sit still all day, every day, we'll still survive because the blood will go around our body oxygenating us. Lymph, on the other hand, does not work via a pump. It works via the contraction of a muscle and valves. So if we do not move our body and contract our muscles, the lymph stays stagnant. It'll be like a fish pond without the pump in there. It gets all green and manky and toxicity builds up. So we need movement as human beings, not just for exercise, but for moving our lymph around our body. But in the mind sense of things is that if we do not have any kind of progression, we experience that pain because it's boring, it's stagnant, we're not progressing, okay? So we need to hit uncertainty. Some people will hit this in their life by, they go on holiday once a year. It's a bit exciting when I get there, or I won't know what's going to happen, and it's just a nice bit of variety there. Other people become a bloody adventurer or a bungee jumping instructor because they have uncertainty as a higher need than certainty. you can see how higher you value the different needs determines the trajectory of your life. If you very much value certainty or comfort or safety as your number one priority, you'll very much focus on, I have to do this for my job, I have to say this, I have to do that, everything becomes organized. Someone that has uncertainty as their top priority doesn't care about that. They find it easier to relax and chill out, but will live with their mum till they're 30. The person who's sorted their life out might have things sorted out more, but they look at the person with variety and go, shit, I can't relax like that. So people that have certainty as their highest need generally are achievers, and go a lot further in career, but then when you speak to them as a family member, they find it very hard to give you their time because they think, I've got to do this, got to do that, got to do that. They're always on to the next thing of progression, and they find it hard to be present. Whereas uncertainty, kind of let that go. So you can see how flicking that around can actually completely change your life. The next one is significance. So this is where it starts to get interesting. Everyone has the need to be different, to be unique. So some people hit their needs for significance by being the most giving person. Like they're the most giving, or they're the wealthiest, they drive the nicest cars, or they're the toughest, I'm a tough guy on the block. And you can see how you meet your significance is can make a massive impact on your life, because it's basically the ego. But some people get this by having the biggest problem. No matter what problem you have, they have a bigger problem. Some people gain their significance from being weak or being vulnerable. And you can see how, like, there's a good saying that I love, is that if you had a cup of coffee and your worst enemy puts sugar in it, what do you have? Sweet coffee. But if your best friend with all the best intentions in the world accidentally puts cyanide in it, you're dead. And sometimes it's the best friends that are the detriment to you by going, live a little, oh, come on out, don't worry about that, you know, like, should you be doing that in a career move? And they put doubt and they put their limitations on you. Even though they love you and they're doing it to protect you, they put their limitations on you. So that's why when you really want to progress in a certain area, it's important to get away from those people, because if it's someone that's limited in their mind on their own body, they'll put those limitations on you. Or career, if they go, I don't know about that, that's their limitation, not yours, and that was being given to them probably by their parents or something like that. But significance is a big thing. Significance is also a big reason why there'll always be violence in the world. What I'll give you an example of that is, if you live in the hood, you dropped out of school and you feel very insignificant. What do people that feel very insignificant do? They generally want to overly put over significance, right? So you're in the hood, you've got no money, you feel like that big, and you see this super happy, young, wealthy couple walk down the road, and it brings up everything in you that goes, I hate those people, money's bad, people are bad, and all these things that they told them, a story in their head to reconfirm their identity. Sorry. But what, on a level of 1 to 10, how much certainty do I have that if I pull out a gun and put it to their head, that they're going to notice me now? 10. On a level of 1 to 10, what's the uncertainty? It's pretty exciting, right? They might cry, they might attack me, they might have loads of valuables on them. Like, you don't know what's going to happen. Certainty, uncertainty, 10. Significance. How significant to them am I in their life on a 1 to 10? 10. They're not looking at me and going, after this I'll go do the washing, or they're absolutely down the line. And one other one that I've got to go into is the next one, which is love and connection, which I'll go into in a minute, but they're looking at me completely connected. So it hits 10s on all these things. That's why some people who feel very insignificant become very driven by intimidation, by being the toughest person, because they actually feel very little about themselves, but at least, you know, don't mess with me, because it doesn't take a lot of time and effort to it's my son trying to figure out my voice is coming. Time and effort to become angry. A child can do it. So this is also why, if you're having an intellectual disagreement with someone and the other person gets the upper hand, 9 times out of 10, a person who doesn't have control over their emotions, they won't then put their opinion forward and have that debate with them. They'll go, well, and they start getting frustrated and pissed off, and they get angry, and they want to intimidate, because it's a way of connecting with themselves. It's a way of going from insignificant to significant, because in a second, if I could slam my book down and make you scared, now who's the significant one, you know? So it's a very cheap emotion, and it's a very childish emotion, and if people don't get control of it, they can do it to themselves over and over again, something called a crazy 8, because a crazy 8 looks like this. It looks like a figure 8. Just goes, I probably can't see it there, but round and round and round and round. If someone was hard done by and was really upset and down and depressed, and you said absolutely nothing but listen to them, after a while they get angry. They go, whoa, stop this, I'm not taking this anymore. And if you didn't say anything after being pissed off and angry, they go back to sad and depressed. And we've all done this, and it's the crazy 8, and it goes round and round and round because they're stuck in something called a triad, which we'll go in a minute. So love and connection. Love is what we're all looking for, but most people settle for connection. Like, most people have been hurt in their life by a partner, something like this, and now we all know someone that that has had a bad breakup or bad marriage divorce, and now they got 10 dogs. Because when you leave the room and come back in, the dog's like, I love you, and they call it their children and all this kind of thing. We all know, if I fed the dog the same, the dog would love me just as much. I have a dog, Teddy, it will love you just as much. This is connection, because a dog is unconditional and it won't hurt you, right? The dog won't leave you, the dog won't cheat on you, because love has an element of vulnerability that you've got to give into. And this is what people find very hard to do, especially culturally, in particular cultures. They don't show vulnerability, and to be in love, to show love, to give love, you have to show vulnerability. But vulnerability is actually one of the biggest strengths, but that's a completely different talk. So these 4 have to be met no matter what, even if it's detrimental to your life. You can connect to yourself in certain ways. You can connect to yourself by having a drink, by smoking, oh, give myself a minute. So people can use these things to meet their needs that are detrimental to them. Have a bar of chocolate, you know, because I'm certain that I'm going to feel good, I'm going to get that high. You know, I get to connect myself for just a minute, you know, and the significance, I work hard, I deserve this. So even though this is bad for them, it's meeting their needs. You know, like, has anyone ever watched a movie more than once? Sad, isn't it? Like, you watch it again, why? Because you're certain it's a good movie, you're hoping you've forgotten enough that you got some uncertainty or variety in there, but you know you're going to enjoy it, and you get to absolutely connect with yourself or different emotions, because a great director gets to control your emotions into different places. Like there's a monk that talks about, if you're not working on focus, then if you're not practicing focus, you're practicing distraction. If you played the piano for 14 hours a day, you would get pretty bloody good at the piano. But if you're not practicing focusing on some things, 14 hours a day that you're awake, you're practicing being distracted. Facebook, that's over here, go over there, you know, like, you're getting pretty good at distraction. And he says, imagine your consciousness, your actual consciousness, as an orb of light. And you're in a room that's completely empty, and it's just got sections, and you've got like family, happiness, finance, sexuality, whatever it is, and where you put this orb is what lights up. And so like a great movie director can place the orb in different places and make you feel these emotions, but if you don't control it, that bounces all over the place. That's why if you really got to connect to someone, and you know when someone probably connects you, it's amazing, right? They give you their attention. But most people, they're just, yeah, and you can see behind their eyes they want to be other places. We all could tell energetically. If you visualize putting this orb into them, it's a great way of putting that emotion, putting that concentration. And if it starts to drift out, push it in. That really helps me when I really have to connect with someone, or give something my attention, place that orb in them. Anyway, I won't go on there, that freaks some people out. So these 4 have to be met. Now there's 2 more, which is like the sort of the higher needs, the needs of the soul, if you will. And one of them is growth. As I've said before in another video, growth is happiness. If tomorrow is going to be the same as today, you experience pain. You've got too much certainty, it's boring. If tomorrow is going to be less than today, you experience pain. You're regressing. If tomorrow is going to be better than today, you experience pleasure because you're growing. That can happen in your body, in your spirituality, in your family, in your finance, or in your learning ability, whatever. If you're growing in something, you're happy. It's why you can click a mouse on a computer for a holiday next year and instantly feel good, because you know you've got uncertainty, you've got variety, you've met your needs back then. We've got better days ahead, which is what we need for survival. And the last one is contribution. This is the highest need. Contribution is the ability to give to someone else without the need for anything in return. Like, we all know contribution is, like, if you've ever experienced it, is the highest level of your being in a way. If you give away to someone regardless of yourself, like if anyone's ever given one-on-one to someone in the street that really needs it. I've traveled a lot, like I traveled for 2 years straight and went all over the world, and like I remember there's places in Colombia where I found people that were just couldn't even feed themselves, and just to give away, even if I was hungry and I had something, the amount of times I was and you give it to someone, your hunger goes. You feel amazing because you're actually affecting another human being that's in more need than you. Highest level. It's the Mother Teresa of levels, right? And most people can't live there. But you can even see how if contribution was your highest need, you might be more fulfilled and feel amazing, but you might also be struggling your entire life because you always give to other people and never give to yourself. So even amazing high level needs being met at the highest level as your highest value can also be detrimental to you. So you have to really think what's your goal. Like growth, people have growth is an amazing one to go for. I try and keep that as one of my highest levels. Growth makes people jump into something they're unsure of, or throw the worry about being judged out the window, because good or bad, even if it goes completely tits up, I get to grow from this experience. It's a great way to go, but those people also put themselves in danger. You know, like go to war, something like that, because you know I'm doing something for a greater good. I'm doing something selfless for myself for a higher need they feel. So there's the contribution and growth. No matter what happens, it's an experience. I accept what happens. Bang. You know, that's like people that put themselves in crazy situations. They're not doing it just for money. They're doing it to hit certain needs. That's why people that are on a mission, they're doing it to hit certain needs that are in line with their goal. So what I'd get you to ask yourself is, out of these basic human needs, what are the top two you run by? Because the top two you run by is what changes the direction of your entire life. Most people, when they're honest with themselves, not what do you want to run by, what are you running by, is two things. Certainty and significance in the Western world, because we're conditioned this way. You have to be certain, you've got to be in control, you've got to have things done, you've got to be moving forward, got to get a house, got to get the car, got to get this. And significance, I'm the one to do it at work, you know, I'll make things happen, I can do this. And because our culture creates this, it makes a lot of go-getters, a lot of doers, and they're good at accumulating materialistic goods. But it makes people that can't wind down, they get very anxious and stressed, because if they're not constantly getting, then they don't feel worthy, because ultimately our ultimate fear is being unworthy. Tribal thing, right? You know, like we weren't born with big fangs or teeth, and so we've survived by social groups. Did you know there's Neanderthals and Neanderthals? Neanderthals were bigger, stronger, heavier than us, and they could destroy us easily. This is going way back. Look into this. We actually out-survived them because they were solitary living creatures. They would come and actually hunt us, but we lived in tribes. One tiger versus one person, not a problem. One tiger versus two people, not a problem. One tiger versus a tribe, the tiger's screwed. Right? A tribe that really works together has that oxytocin release. Oxytocin is a chemical that's released between humans when we do good deeds for each other, or it's a feel-good factor. It's like the tribal hormone. If you dropped your wallet crossing the road, no, excuse me, you dropped your wallet, and you go, oh, thank you, you get an oxytocin release, so do I. Science also shows that someone who witnessed that act gets an oxytocin release. It says possible ally tribe member, right? But now if you drive past and you see me with the bonnet up and the steam coming out of my car, you're more likely to stop because that's a nice guy. If you stop, we both get a larger oxytocin release, and this is how friendships are built. This is why a mother instantly loves her child, because one of the biggest releases of hormones is oxytocin. Bang! This is your child. You give your life to this child. Men, it builds up more and more and more. But the problem is people get their oxytocin release from Instagram, Facebook, how many likes they've got. And this is what really upsets me. And if you're really watching this far, unfortunately most people won't, because of significance usually, or because of the fact that I think if I watch this and I agree with this, somehow this person has something over me, or I'm not clever enough, I'm not good enough. It plays to their insecurities and their human needs. That's why, I don't know if you noticed, any video I ever put up, if you look back, get sort of any likes or comments. Yeah, anyone else who, say, hasn't developed as much in their body or anything will get a lot more comments and likes, because unfortunately, we all know someone that sees a beautiful woman and guys are like, wow, and the women will look and go, bitch, she's really stuck up. She's up herself. And you see someone that's maybe not so beautiful and let herself go a bit, whatever, they go, oh, she's so inspirational, she's beautiful. And this is something that's very natural in human nature when it's not controlled, is because it's not intimidating. It doesn't attack their significance. Just like with a man, you know, he's at the beach and he feels good, and then a bigger, stronger guy in great shape walks up, suddenly keeps looking over, might want to put his shirt on, something like that, because it plays with insignificance. Once you realise these ridiculous hormones and needs that are getting conflicted, once you realise, why do I feel this way? That's challenging my significance. What has to be real for that to happen? Does this person being in that condition, say, affect me? Does that make me more insignificant? No. Has that person actually really worked for it? Could this be a really nice person that could help me get to there if I broke down my barriers and spoke and say, you're really inspiring, like, how can I get where you are? And then they'll go, shit, you know what, I was really overweight when I was younger and I just had enough. And they'll give you their whole story, and it'll blow your mind how this person that's spiked up insignificance in you is your key to getting somewhere. But anyway, it was something I want to quickly go on to finish up, because as I said, majority of people will never watch this far, and I really hope if you have and you find this interesting, go over it, research more into it, because as I said, I've just come into amazing people and studied this. I've got my own spin on things, and I've learnt this deeply and I embody it. And if you want to know, I will help you with something called priming, which will change your life. But I need to know, because no one ever comments on my videos usually, unless it's just about food. So I don't even know if anyone's going to watch this far. If you are, please even give me a thumbs up or a dot, an enter, whatever, because it's funny the different perspectives that people have. Like, I see it as we're all watching a pantomime, a show. We've got a stage and we're all at different areas of the audience. We're watching the same thing, but certain people or actors on the stage are getting blocked by other people. So depending where you sit around the stage is the perspective you get of the same show, which is life, right? The problem is because of conditioning as well, because we live in a certain culture. As I said, if I put anything up, no one ever does anything for a certain reason, which is fine, but then I get the feeling that no one's listening and that there's no point. Because I'm trying to live by contribution here and giving my time to make these videos, to speak one-on-one with people, like, and really I'm pushing things forward for the family and progression. But ultimately I started Evolve because I wanted to make a change, because the fitness industry is screwed. It's about biceps and selfies, and that's bullshit. If you look at the original logo of Evolve, it ends in a meditating man, because I was big into meditating the mindset, and I was actually doing coaching, like life coaching, but I could really affect people when I got them there and get them really focusing on what they're focusing on and changing their life. But getting them there was very hard, because most people are conditioned to appreciate the superficial more than the internal. One thing I want to leave you with is something called a triad. The triad is one of the most amazing things, and it's what we got things that we can focus on, and what we focus on is the emotion that we feel. Where your energy goes, energy flows, right? Focus goes, energy flows. So imagine you got door number 1. Behind it is someone deeply depressed. How's their body? Is it up? Is their head up? Or is it down? Down, right? Think of this along with me. Is the shoulders back, or is it slant forward? Slant forward. Are they speaking very direct and fast, or is it slow and soft? Slow and soft. Why? Why do we know this? We've all done it ourselves, and we go 98% of body language. You know, language is relatively, in the grand scheme of things, a new thing. And so we go off body language. That's why you can tell when someone goes, yeah, no, I really enjoyed that. You tell, bullshit, it's not congruent with our body language. So what you focus on, so psychology, physiology and language. Psychology, what we're focusing on. For someone to be in this body language, they have to be focusing on something bad in their life, being wrong done by something that's happened to them. They're focusing on that, and they encompass that thought. If you ever want to feel how someone else is feeling, just stand how they are and you're, holy shit, they're not feeling good about themselves, you know. So psychology, physiology, and the language. In their head, what are they saying? Are they saying, God, I'm killing life, I love myself? Or they're saying, I'm stupid, I'm not good enough. And so it encompasses this. It's called a triad. They get caught in this. You need to break this triad. This is part of why exercise is so good. Exercise is so amazing because of the fact that that it breaks the triad. Not just the dopamine effect, it breaks the triad. Someone who's deeply depressed doesn't do big breaths. They don't open and move their body. It feels great. That's why power poses work. When I was building Evolve and I was getting 3 hours sleep a night for 3 years, I used to come down the lift in the morning like this, arms up, because you only do this if you won something. If you watch a child, they embody everything that they do. If they feel happy and excited, they skip, they flip their arms around, they feel good. If they're angry, they stomp. And if you feel like crap and you put a stupid song and you start dancing ridiculous, and you'll make yourself laugh and you'll drop out of that emotion because your body language isn't in congruence with the emotion that you were feeling. And so your body's a very powerful thing for influencing your mind. If you put your body in a position of an emotion, your mind will follow. So sometimes if you can't direct your mind, you have to direct your body, which is a big thing. That's why I feel like shit, I don't want to train. You train afterwards, you go, oh, I feel better. Change the tribe. So you have to change your psychology, what you're focusing on, the physiology, but massively your language, what you tell yourself, what you embody. And you break this tribe in line with something else, you get the goal. So I'm going to wrap this up because it's gone way too long. Imagine you had a boat in Darwin Harbour and you had full crew, and you wanted to go to New York, you had no crew, no navigation, and you set it off into the sea. How likely would it hit New York? It's not going to, right? It's going to hit an island, get put off course, get sunk, whatever. And now you've got the same boat, you put full crew, full navigation on it. How likely would it hit New York now? It's going to. It gets put off course, it adjusts, it goes to hit an island, it adjusts, and it keeps adjusting till it hits New York. Problem is, most people don't know where their New York is. They say, what are you going to do this week? No goals. What do you do next month? No goals. Next year, 2 years. Every single successful person in anything, in business, in health, in sport, they all know where they're going and they know where to drive, because you don't need to be great. You just got to take that next step and that next step in direction. Success is like that, right? In direction, you fall off the wagon, but then you get back on and you take that simple steps towards that ultimate goal. That's how you get there. Without that, you're the best plane in the world floating around the sky with no destination. Who knows where you're going to end up? So you have to have that goal. And there's a way of doing this called priming, which changed my life. But as I said, I don't even know if people are going to watch this video, and that's something I want to do separately if you want it. If you've watched this far and you actually want me to do something on priming, because this is something that I take super seriously, write it in the comments here. And if you think this is giving you value, please share it, or especially people in the group say, you have to watch this video. Link it on and tag people, go, you got to watch this, because I didn't make this up. I just lived by this truck. The focus I just gave was the truck. The main thing I gave it was, it happens. I could have given the focus to the truck, and the minute I gave it, it's ruined my video. It would cause a different emotion, made me pissed off. I didn't make this up. How do we learn stuff? If you wanted to make the best cake in the world, and someone spent 50 years traveling the world making the best cake, why would you spend 50 years traveling the world when you get the recipe off them? So that's what I've done, studied people more successful than myself and bring it in. 4 years ago, I was a backpacker and just creating a little carport and rolling the door up in a carport. And it's these things that have really given me direction and drive forward, So if you want that video on priming, please let me know. I'm more than happy to do it, or even better, a seminar, bring you in. It's something I've always done and people find it amazing, but I'll only do it if people actually want it. So I hope this has given you value and planted the seed so you can work on something to choose where you want to go. Because honestly, there's so many self-prescribed life gurus. Everything's about inspiration now. Motivation's temporary. It's growth and work and planting the seed and growing this on yourself that lasts a long time. People chuck up an Instagram photo, you can do anything, and inside they're saying, I can't do it. But I love to specialize in finding out how do you get that person to really believe in that and get momentum in that direction, because you get momentum in either direction. You're on a path. and all you can do is steer. One path is detrimental, other path is good, and you got to constantly steer this way to the point where you cause the tracks that your emotional home is steering this way. Feeling this way goes weird. Most people are addicted to the emotion and the hormone of feeling bad, depressed, even though it's detrimental, and they keep going this way. Obviously there's more to it, and this is a very short video, and I'm trying to cram as much in just to plant seeds. So if you like this, please share it, and I hope you have a fantastic day.